Hey everyone, so more workers are searching for more fulfilling careers amid recent events. Here's an article that appeared on Click on Detroit recently. But I think this is wonderful. This is definitely happening, and I think this is great. Because of recent events, it's true. A lot of people who were previously working in a corporate career, in an established organization, a more traditional organization, are realizing that they don't have to settle. Now, something that I talk about a lot on my 2 YouTube channels is how to get a job. It's careers, how to pass job interviews, and that whole topic. And what has always astounded me is how artificial the world of recruitment and selection is, okay? When you sort of step into the world of recruitment and selection, when you try to help people to get a job and to pass job interviews, you realize that, you're walking into a fantasy land, because the way that typically an employee's value is assessed, or a candidate's value is assessed, is completely contrary to their actual worth. Job interviews really are a series of mind games. And it's unintuitive, it's illogical, and ultimately it's not founded on real value, okay? The entire concept of having to coach people on how to answer certain job interview questions so they answer the job interview, that in itself illustrates how artificial and silly the entire process is. And I think that what they're talking about here in this article, more workers are searching for more fulfilling careers, I think this is a direct consequence of that, because more people are waking up to this. More people are realizing that their value as assessed by traditional organizations, organizations who essentially ignored the existence of things like the internet, they're realizing more and more that they don't have to settle for it. 30 years ago, these organizations, they reigned supreme, and you had to conform to the way they did things, and there was just no alternative. Well, now, thanks to recent events, there is an alternative, and this has been shown to people. Now, let me give you one example, okay? The example of working from home. Now, what several recent events have shown us is that it is possible to work from home. Any knowledge worker can easily work from home. Anybody whose job depends on working on a computer or on a phone or at a desk can work from home. We have known this for a very, very long time. And a lot of people who are knowledge workers, as it has been shown recently, their job can be done from home. Now, this is not new. We've known this, but in the past, a lot of organizations have intentionally ignored that and intentionally made their employees come to work. They ensured that their employees came to work, started work at a specific time, did their job, didn't go home early. And the entire reason for requiring them to come to work and having to commute was simply so that they could keep them under surveillance. They could police them, make sure they're working, right? And now that recent events are starting to come to an end, a lot of organizations are wanting to return to the status quo. They're wanting to bring people back into the office and have them work from the office and no longer work from home. And it's amazing what they're saying. They're saying all kinds of ludicrous things to try and convince people that, no, we have to go back to the way it was. Now, of course, that everybody's had a taste of being able to do your job from home, which you always knew was possible, but were never allowed to, because they wanted to keep you under tabs, right? Well, is it any wonder that workers have gotten a taste for this, okay? And they don't want to go back to the way it was, because the way it was illogical. If you could do your entire job from home, why force your employees to come into work every day and commute and go through all the personal inconvenience of doing it? Just so that you can go back to a system where they can watch you. And let's be honest, nobody enjoys being watched, being surveilled. You'd rather do it in the convenience and comfort of your own home, where as long as you do your job and you complete your work, nothing else really should matter. Okay, as long as you're doing it properly. But this is one example of a larger issue, and the larger issue is that the world has moved on. And when you look at, like I said, when you look at how ridiculous the world of assessing somebody's value is, and what is important to these organizations, and you combine that with the fact that people can do a lot better, you're leading to this situation where people are not going to go back to the status quo. They're going to resist it, okay? You have a lot of talented people out there who are discovering that they can leave their corporate job and they can either start their own company or a side hustle, or they can join smaller organizations that work in much more progressive ways that make use of the technology in this current world, this current business environment, to unlock their full potential. You see people leaving their jobs who were generating a certain amount of revenue for their organization, and instead they are working on their own and they are generating considerably more revenue than they would in their corporate job. Their value has increased simply because they are being used more efficiently. Okay? If you work at something that you enjoy and you have a flair for business and you have a flair for doing some component that results in making money, whether that's sales or operations or anything, why work for someone else? Why work for an organization that doesn't value you? Why work for an organization that wants to keep you in your place when you can be a business owner and reap the full reward for the value you create? You know, why work for someone else and have to work under their thumb? So this is the beginning, I think, of a great trend. Okay, and I would encourage anyone who's listening to this, if you are having concerns, you are being forced to return to a life of corporate servitude, where you're forced to work in inefficient ways, simply because the organization that employs you does not appreciate your true value and you feel that you can do much more, I highly encourage you to act on those sentiments and be able to start something on your own, to be able to work in the most efficient way possible. You will not be the only ones doing this. This is the beginning of a trend. We've seen a lot of people doing this, and this article just accentuates it more and more. Okay? Although there's a lot of shortages in labor right now, and some of that is caused by this factor here. People do not want to return to the status quo. So that's my 2 cents on this. I haven't really covered much of what is said in this article, but I think it echoes a lot of what I've been saying. If you want to read the article, I will put the link in the description. Thank you very much for your attention. You guys are awesome, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thanks very much. Take care.